Good morning, everybody, and welcome to an unseasonably warm Galway. In preparation for this week, we would have considered everything from a storm, rain, wind, making sure everything was battened down. But a heat wave and potentially 30 plus degrees was a new one on us. But I think you can all feel the nice cool air. But in agreement with Minister Creed, we have decreed that on health and safety grounds, everybody should be free to do this during the proceedings today. If at any stage you feel too warm. Also the jacket, and we said we'd hold it at that for the moment. But it is really important that this is an enjoyable occasion. It's our 5th annual summit, and a summit like this is not possible without an incredible number of partners, and foremost of which on this year has to be the Port of Galway for enabling not only the creation of this conference village in the middle of a harbour, but also in everything they've done. Nothing is too much, nothing can't be done, and the spirit of cooperation and creating a unique experience, not only for everyone at the summit, but for the weekend, has been the commitment from Port of Galway. And it is my great pleasure to introduce the Chairman of the Port of Galway, Maurice, to address you.
Minister, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Galway Harbour Company, I'm delighted to welcome you to the Ocean Wealth Summit 2018. For those of you visitors to Galway, Galway is a university city. It is the only bilingual city in Ireland. It's with a highly educated and creative workforce. We're located on the western periphery of Europe, and Galway is the gateway to the Atlantic Ocean. Galway is a very ambitious city, where the top technology companies are based, where 9 out of 10 of the world's top medtech companies are based, and where we have a growing marine sector supported by a world-class marine institute and higher education institutions. At the Galway Harbour Company, we have ambitious plans for our port. In order to harness our ocean wealth, we need to invest in infrastructure. Our plan is to develop a deep water port capable of accommodating some of the world's largest cruise ships and deep-sea research vessels, which in turn will free up the existing harbour from commercial shipping. The development plugs all the marine infrastructure gaps that exist along the western seaboard and paves the way to regenerate the port estate into a waterfront city of renown. The port has commenced the process of developing a master plan for the entire port estate and will be engaging with all parties as to ensure we use the golden opportunity to create a waterfront vista that rivals Sydney, Auckland and Copenhagen. Galway has been a trading marine port for 1,000 years. With the port expansion in place, Galway's marine heritage is set to continue. There is much to learn from the ocean, and with this marine infrastructure, Galway will be the research port for the Atlantic Arc. And whilst Galway basks in this wonderful sunshine, which is not unusual for Galway, we get it quite often, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to explore the city, explore County Galway and the region, and wish you all the very best for the summit. Thank you.
Also, to host such an event as this, sponsors and partners from a sponsorship community are incredibly important. And the relationships that have built up over the last number of years, and you'll feel that theme developing throughout today and tomorrow, are incredibly important to the joint endeavour. And it is truly a great honour and indeed a pleasure for me to introduce Declan McDonald, who's the advisory partner of PwC, who have been an anchor sponsor with us over the last couple of years. And Declan, it's wonderful to see a man being marinized before your eyes. Declan.
Thanks, Peter. Minister, ladies and gentlemen. We're delighted to be here. It's our 2nd year to sponsor the summit. We've a long relationship with the Marine Institute and the IMDO going back a number of years. And certainly when we started to discuss getting more involved in this event and other events during the year, it became very apparent to us very quickly that some really solid foundations have been built in the establishment of the Marine Coordination Group and the policy framework that's been put in place for the Integrated Marine Plan for Ireland, and that really resonates with us as an organisation. And we felt that we would like to lend our support in some small way, in any way we can, to assist with the progression of that. And certainly along the lines of building awareness and thought leadership in the marine space. There's an overwhelmingly positive attitude towards the marine in this country, and it's moving in the right direction. We ran a small survey in advance of the summit this year, and the response was overwhelmingly positive, with something like 80 to 90% of people stating that they really believe there's massive future growth potential, both in terms of value and in terms of employment. However, there's clearly challenges along the way, and the respondents identified a number of challenges, particularly in areas like regulation, skills, and investment. Our National Marine Plan is a long-term vision. It looks out to 2030 and beyond, and I guess like all plans, it'll require adjustment from time to time. It'll require to be varied along the way, and I'm sure there's many sailors and mariners in the audience here today who will identify with the fact that when you plot your course, you may have to make adjustments along the way for unforeseen circumstances, but you eventually get to your destination despite altering. And I see the same with our marine plan. It's a long-term voyage that we're going on here. We will face challenges along the way. We will face alterations in our course, and none at the moment more prevalent than Brexit, which is a really good example of a headwind that our plan is facing. But I think what we really need to remember is, strange as it might sound right now, when we're in the middle and the midst of Brexit negotiations, it'll come and it'll go. Like a lot of other things, we'll adapt to whatever the outcome is. Businesses and entrepreneurs will adapt to whatever the final outcome is. But we really need to keep our eye on the prize, and that's ultimately where we want our marine sector to go and in the future, in the long term. And what are the fundamentals to achieve that? And as I mentioned there within the survey we've just recently done, regulation, skills and investment are some key fundamentals that need to be addressed in order to push the project forward. And I think it's incumbent on us all who have an interest in this area. We need to challenge successive administrations. We need to challenge the plan. We need to ensure that the Marine gets its voice at the table to achieve what we need to achieve. And on top of that, we need to ensure we create an environment that our entrepreneurs and people with innovative and creative ideas in the Marine get an opportunity to develop and commercialise those ideas. We also need to make sure that we attract the right talent and the young talent coming through, and we need to create attractive opportunities for those. We need to create an environment that encourages and attracts investment for large-scale projects, such as, and it'll be discussed during the course of the summit, offshore renewable energy, which is identified as a big opportunity for Ireland. And we certainly can't have a situation prevailing where such innovation and investment will be lost to other jurisdictions or go elsewhere because of regulatory and licensing regimes that clearly aren't efficient enough to facilitate the progress of those projects. Our theme overall this year is investing in the marine, and I think there's significant opportunities for Ireland to attract capital to some of the initiatives and projects that are going to happen here. We've always been really good at attracting foreign direct investment for a number of different things, and we've established large footprints of tech and pharma and the likes, and there's no reason we can't do the same for the marine. In international investment markets, we've in the past heard a lot about ethical and impact investing, which in the past would have been more the exception than the norm. But I think sustainability is fast becoming a significant consideration in investment funds, and global markets are building in environmental, social and governance factors into their portfolio management. And also we see things like the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and they're creating risk frameworks for portfolio management in international funds. And as I say, I think we're really well positioned to avail of some. We've seen a lot of private equity funds are very liquid at the moment post the crisis, and there's capital out there seeking yield and seeking a home, and the sustainability agenda is really key in some of those decisions and will become more so. Peter made a comment at, I think it was last year's event, or one of the events I've heard him speak at, that we've turned our back on the sea in this country for long enough, and it stuck with me. But I really sense change. There's change in the air here. However, I think we're starting to look over our shoulder rather than turn around and embrace the great blue resource that we've got. And certainly we at PwC feel we can help in raising that awareness, and that's what we're doing, not just here, but in other jurisdictions and networks around the globe, most notably in PwC in Portugal, where my colleague Miguel Marquez has been running a project there for nigh on 10 years now in the sea economy. So I guess I'd encourage everybody to stimulate the debate, challenge the plan, identify the positives and the negatives in relation to progress to date, because ultimately it's the people in this room who are at the forefront of making a living from the marine. They're the ones that are going to create the employment and create the wealth that will help us to achieve what we want to achieve with our ocean wealth. So, as I say, just to finish, I'd encourage people. I think we have. Do we have the app to engage with the speakers? So, yeah, there will be an opportunity clearly for people to use a Summit app to engage with all the fantastic speakers and insights that you're going to see up on the stage here for the next day and a half. So I'd encourage people to be curious, be constructive, be challenging, and I wish you all a very enjoyable and successful summit.